The cop just pulled you over and your hands are already shaking. You're about to say exactly what he wants you to say. Before I go further, have you ever been in a traffic stop where something just felt completely off? Drop a yes or no in the comments right now. It takes literally 2 seconds. And it genuinely helps me know I am reaching real drivers who actually need this information. Okay, so here is what is really happening out on the roads every single day. Most people think a traffic stop is simple. The officer pulls you over, you hand over your license and registration, you answer a few questions, then you drive away. That is what most people believe. And that belief is exactly what gets them into serious trouble. Here is what most people do wrong. They start talking the second the officer approaches the window. They answer every question without stopping to think. They volunteer information that nobody even asked for. They say things like, "I was just in a hurry," or "I only had 1 beer a couple hours ago." And they have absolutely no idea what they are doing to themselves. This is exactly where things fall apart. Because what you say in the first 60 seconds of a traffic stop can absolutely be used against you later. That is not a scare tactic. That is just how the law works. Every single word you say matters. Most drivers have no idea this is even a thing. They think being polite means being totally cooperative. And being cooperative means answering every single question right away. But there is a real difference between being respectful and giving up your legal rights. One of those things protects you. The other one might cost you everything. Here's the part that most people never hear about. Some officers, not all, but definitely some, will stretch the truth during a traffic stop. They might tell you things that simply are not accurate. They might say things in a way that makes you feel like you have no choice. They might claim they have powers they do not legally have in that specific situation. And if you do not know your rights, you will believe every single word. You will do things you are not required by law to do. That is what this video is completely about. Knowing the difference between what an officer can legally do and what he just wants you to think he can do. Knowing what to say, knowing how to stay calm and in control, and knowing how to protect yourself the right way without making the whole situation worse. I have gone through hundreds of real traffic stop recordings and read through actual court documents and real case files. The pattern I keep seeing over and over again is always the same. Drivers lose, not because of what the officer did, but because of what the driver said in the first 60 seconds. The moves I am about to share with you come directly from those real situations. These are not theories or guesses. This is what actually works. Here is the first move. Call it the silent shield. Most people feel a powerful need to fill the silence during a traffic stop. The officer walks up to your window. There's a brief moment of quiet, and before he even opens his mouth, you start talking. You explain why you were going fast. You apologize for everything. You start describing your entire day to a stranger with a badge. You honestly think you are helping yourself. You are not. Silence is not a sign of guilt, but your words absolutely can be used as evidence against you. You are not legally required to explain yourself before the officer even speaks to you. When the officer first approaches your window, hand over your license and registration and stay quiet. If he asks why he thinks he stopped you, you do not have to answer that. You can calmly say exactly this. "I am not sure, officer. Can you tell me why you stopped me?" This works because it does not deny anything. It does not admit anything either. It puts the full burden back on the officer to explain his legal reason for stopping you. Every single traffic stop requires a real reason. That reason is called reasonable suspicion. In plain English, that just means the officer must have an actual reason to pull you over. He cannot do it randomly. By asking him to state it out loud, you're making sure it goes on the record from his own mouth. You're not being difficult or rude. You are being smart. When you start the stop with that one calm question, you are already ahead of 90% of drivers on the road today. Now this next one is where most people completely fall apart. Call it the consent trap escape. Here's something that happens during a lot of routine traffic stops. The officer finishes checking your documents, then he casually asks if he can take a look inside your car. He says it like it is totally no big deal. Like everyone just says, "Of course." Something like, "You do not mind if I take a quick peek, right?" And most drivers say yes because they do not want to look suspicious. They think saying yes proves they have nothing to hide. This is one of the single biggest mistakes a person can make at a traffic stop. You always have the right to say no to a search, every single time. Unless the officer has a warrant, that is a written document signed by a judge that grants specific permission, or unless he has a very serious legal reason, he cannot search your car without your permission. When you give that permission, you just gave away one of your most powerful protections. Say exactly this. "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." That phrase is short, it is calm, it is completely clear, and it puts your position on the official record. If a dash cam or a body cam is running, and it almost always is at a traffic stop, your refusal is now captured on video. This matters enormously if the stop ever turns into something more serious. Courts have thrown out evidence found during searches where the driver's consent was later questioned. Your calm refusal is your legal shield. Use it every single time. You are not acting guilty by saying no to a search. You are simply being legally smart. Real quick. If nobody has ever told you any of this before, give this video a thumbs up right now. Most people go their entire lives without knowing even one of these things. That honestly frustrates me because this is so important and it is just not taught anywhere. Let us change that together. Back to it. Now, before I keep going, I want to be real with you about something. Everything I am sharing in this video is for educational purposes only. This is not legal advice. I'm not your lawyer. Every state has its own laws and every situation is different. If you are dealing with something serious right now, please talk to a real licensed attorney in your state. Someone who can look at your specific situation and actually help you the right way. Okay, now back to what we were covering. Here's the third move. Call it the recording announcement. A lot of people do not realize they have the right to record their own traffic stop. In most states across the country, you absolutely do. And the simple act of calmly telling the officer you are recording can completely change the tone of the entire stop. It does not make you his enemy. It just means everyone in that situation is being held accountable. But how you announce it really matters. You cannot just silently shove your phone in someone's face. You need to say it calmly, clearly, and respectfully so there isn't zero confusion. Say exactly this. Officer, I want you to know I am recording this interaction for my own records. This phrase does several important things at once. First, it is completely transparent. You are not hiding what you are doing. Second, it signals to the officer that you know your rights and you're paying close attention to everything. Third, and this is the really big one, it creates a permanent record of the entire stop from start to finish. If the officer later writes in his report that you said something you never actually said, you have the footage to prove otherwise. Recordings have become the single most powerful factor in overturning bad traffic stops in recent years. Officers who might stretch the truth on paper are far more careful when they know a camera is capturing every single word. Your phone sitting on that seat might be the most powerful protection tool in your entire car right now. Now here is the fourth move. Call it the statement stopper. This one is about what to do when an officer starts making claims that feel off or just plain wrong to you. Sometimes an officer will say something like, I clocked you doing 90 in a 65 zone, or dispatch got a call about a car matching your exact description, or even, our system is showing a current suspension on your license. The natural instinct for most drivers is to either argue back fast or nervously agree with what he said. Both of those reactions can seriously hurt you. Arguing puts you in a confrontational position right away. It rarely helps and often makes things escalate fast. But nervously agreeing, even just saying, oh, really, or I do not know how that happened, can sound like you are confirming the officer's version of what happened. Say exactly this. I hear you, officer. I want to make sure I understand everything correctly. I'm going to speak with my attorney before I respond to that. This phrase is not aggressive. It is not rude or confrontational at all, but it is powerful. You're not denying the claim. You're not confirming it either. You are using your right to speak with a lawyer before responding to something serious. A lawyer is called legal counsel. That right is real, and it matters a great deal. Once you say you want to speak with an attorney, officers are legally required to stop questioning you about the incident. That is a real protection. And most people on the road right now have never heard of it. One calm sentence can stop a bad situation from becoming a much worse one. I need to ask you something important. Is there someone in your life, a parent, a sibling, a close friend, a teenager who just got their first license, who drives every single day and has no idea about any of this? Think about that person right now. Because one of these moves could be exactly what they need the very next time they get pulled over. Share this video with them right now, not after you finish watching. Right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it could genuinely protect someone you love. Here's the fifth and final move. Call it the exit protocol. Most people think the stop is completely over the moment the officer hands back their documents. The tension breaks, relief floods in. Your guard drops all the way down, and that is precisely the moment a lot of officers will use to throw in one last question. Something that sounds totally casual and friendly, like, hey, before you head out, you have not had anything to drink tonight, have you? Or, where are you off to in such a rush? These feel like small talk. They feel friendly. They are not. Those last second questions are calculated fishing trips. The officer is counting on your relief and your dropped guard. He is hoping you say something useful in that relaxed final moment. And most drivers fall for it every single time because they are just so glad the stop seems to be wrapping up. Say exactly this. Am I free to go, officer? 4 words. That is all. But those 4 words are a legal trigger. By law, the officer must either tell you yes, you are free to leave, or he must tell you that you are being detained and explain why. Detained means you are not free to go. He cannot legally just hold you there with no reason at all. By asking this one calm and simple question, you force the whole situation into complete clarity. If he says yes, you thank him politely, you drive away, and you do not answer any more questions on the way out. If he says no, you stay completely calm, stay quiet, and ask to speak with your attorney. The moment those 4 words leave your mouth, you have taken full control of how that stop ends. Now let us bring this all home. You now know something that most drivers on the road will never know. You know the silent shield. Ask the officer why he stopped you instead of volunteering a single word on your own. You know the consent trap escape. Clearly refuse any search every single time and get it on the record. You know the recording announcement. Tell the officer you're recording so the entire stop is captured on camera. You know the statement stopper. When an officer makes a serious claim against you, tell him you want your attorney before you respond to anything. And you know the exit protocol. 4 words that put you back in full control of how the stop ends. You are not helpless in that situation anymore. Most people get pulled over and feel like the officer holds every single card in the deck. Now you know that is not fully true. You have real moves. You have real words. You have real rights. And now you actually know how to use them when it truly counts. Here's your challenge. The next time you get pulled over, and it does not matter if it is tomorrow or a year from now, use at least one of these moves. Just one. Stay calm, stay respectful, and pull out something you genuinely learned today. Then come back to this video and leave a comment telling me exactly what happened. Tell me which move you used, tell me how the officer responded, tell me how the stop ended. I read every single comment on this channel. Everyone. Your real story might be the exact thing that teaches someone else how to protect themselves in that same situation. Stay sharp, know your rights, and never let a traffic stop take one thing more than the law says it can.